The attack kicks off Ukrainian armored vehicles charge into Russian-held territory with force. Through the dust and engine roar, the lead Bradley fires off flares non-stop to throw off heat-seeking missiles, setting the stage for a bold assault. The Bradley immediately opens fire, clearing the way and taking out any threats. Through the smoke, it pushes deeper into enemy-held territory. The speed of the Ukrainian assault catches Russian forces completely off guard. Many soldiers, facing combat for the first time, abandon their positions and flee on motorcycles. The BGM-71 Tau missile is one of the most well-known anti-tank weapons developed by the United States. With its armor-piercing capability, it can destroy tanks and armored vehicles. Moments later, a second missile detonates right on the Russian soldiers' retreat path. The blast wave stuns several troops, leaving them severely disoriented. Panic spread faster than the sound of gunfire. Russian troops, overwhelmed and cornered, abandoned their motorcycles in open fields, scattering in chaos. Ukraine deployed bomb-dropping drones, small in size but highly effective. A grenade exploded nearby, leaving a Russian soldier bloodied, forcing part of the unit to retreat while trying to provide cover. A soldier turned back to retrieve his vehicle, but the drone had already locked on. He was just seconds from escaping, but the kamikaze UAV dove in with deadly precision, giving him no chance. The explosion engulfed both man and machine in flames. The Ukrainians didn't let up. The APC on the left unleashed its M2 Browning, laying down cover fire for a squad hurriedly checking their gear, getting ready to dismount. The Bradley joined the fight, its 25mm cannon sweeping through the tree line. The split team tactic was in play. The Bradley and APC separated, engaging different targets. Russia quickly launched a recon drone, but it was too late. Ukrainian troops had already spread out in multiple directions, dodging artillery by constantly shifting speed and direction. The counterattacks grew fiercer by the minute. The MLRS rocket artillery system opened fire. Dozens of rockets screamed into the sky before slamming down on their targets. Due to the missile threat, Su-25 aircraft were forced to skim the ground at ultra-low altitudes to avoid radar detection. At the same time, MLRS units moved into new firing positions, adjusting their aim for the next rocket barrage. Su-25 fighter jets flew at treetop level, penetrating enemy airspace and preparing to launch a missile strike. However, a lack of coordination between the MLRS rocket crews and the Air Force nearly led to disaster. Imagine the horror a pilot must have felt, watching a wave of rockets launch directly into the airspace he was flying through. Moments later, a barrage of fire rained down on the designated coordinates. This was the combined power of coordinated airstrikes and ground artillery, a relentless storm of firepower. The Bradley and APC closed in on the drop-off point. A missile exploded just ahead. Snipers kept up covering fire. Ukrainian troops dismounted, clearing the battlefield step by step. Everything seemed to go according to plan. They had maneuvered around and were now closing in on the enemy from behind. Realizing they were being ambushed, Russian forces immediately returned fire. The battle erupted. This is modern warfare, where 80% of the time you shoot without ever clearly seeing the enemy. The Russians fought fiercely to hold their second defensive line, knowing full well that if it fell, the consequences would be severe. An enemy infantry fighting vehicle surged forward, attempting to break through the defensive line with heavy suppressive fire. An anti-tank soldier quickly took aim. A Russian infantry fighting vehicle charged in, firing furiously in an attempt to break through Ukraine's defenses. But a determined Ukrainian soldier fired back. The vehicle was hit, engulfed in flames. A final shot pierced the APC's armor. The Russian crew was killed instantly. Silence fell. The defensive position was now in Ukrainian hands. Russia refused to give up. They responded with relentless 120mm artillery fire. Just as the Ukrainians exhaled in relief, the silence was torn apart by the scream of the first incoming shell. In the sky, the Su-25 returned, continuing its bombing run, but Ukraine was ready a surface-to-air missile. SAM locked on. One Su-25 was shot down before the pilot could eject a sudden silent death. Russian radar quickly identified the launch site and dispatched a kamikaze drone in retaliation. The strike hit the SAM launcher directly, but luckily, the missile hadn't yet detonated. It survived, but not without a price. The captured area had to be thoroughly cleared. Grenades were thrown into the trenches first, then troops moved in. One Ukrainian soldier made a selfless, near-suicidal move to save his comrades. Reinforcements arrived. The area was fortified, defenses rebuilt, but it was only the prelude. The Bradley, a vehicle that might seem ordinary, was actually a decoy. It drew enemy fire and attention, while the real assault force circled around from another direction. As it pushed deeper into the battlefield, it came under relentless attack from drones, artillery, and anti-tank weapons, yet it kept moving. 2 direct hits failed to stop it. The third strike, a drone aiming for its sensor array, was shot down mid-air by the Bradley's own gunner. Russia brought in anti-aircraft artillery, but even their most precise systems couldn't take down the Bradley as it sped forward. The vehicle stormed into the Russian-held village. Ukraine had the upper hand, landing troops right in the heart of the stronghold. Guerrilla fighting broke out. Every house had to be cleared. Any movement was met with gunfire. One Ukrainian soldier had just pulled the pin on his grenade. When a Russian grenade flew toward him, he threw both back, saving his entire squad from injury. A soldier picked up an AK, a battlefield trophy. But suddenly, a Russian drone came diving in this time, a fiber-optically guided UAV. Fortunately, he survived. Russia sent reinforcements. 10 soldiers jumped out of an APC, preparing to counterattack. But Ukraine's drone was ready. The vehicle was taken out. No one else made it through. The Bradley pushed forward, driving straight into the heart of the Russian stronghold. The enemy had no cover. One by one, they fell under the 25mm barrage. A UAV confirmed the entire Russian squad was wiped out. The Bradley had fulfilled its mission: draw fire, clear the path for the assault team emerging from the forest. Then it pulled back, providing covering fire all the way out. Russian troops were trapped, their vehicle had been destroyed, and reinforcements couldn't arrive in time. Flares were fired to confuse incoming missiles. The final shot eliminated the remaining Russian unit. Then, the Bradley took a hit. The first missile couldn't stop it, but the second struck the engine. Flames engulfed the vehicle. Inside, the crew pounded on the hatch, scrambling to escape. Artillery rained down, turning the vehicle into twisted metal. The survivors called for evacuation. They left in silence, carrying with them the memory of comrades who would fight no more.